The Situation Room with Wolf Blitzer, weekday afternoons at 4 Eastern on CNN.
Will it be harder to deal with these hackers then?
Well, you know, when we've been responding to these guys for 7 years, they kind of anchor themselves into certain behaviors. I feel confident because a lot of companies have dealt with them for so long that if we do change their behaviors, first we're giving them a Mike Tyson uppercut with what we're doing with 3,000 indicators being released today. But we're going to be able to see where they migrate to. In a way, we're taking control of things by saying we're going to put these countermeasures in place, knowing they have to go over here now. So I think we'll be able to predict what they do.
What's the worst case scenario? What could they do?
Well, throughout my experience of responding to Chinese hackers, they've actually had rules of engagement, meaning they come in and they steal your intellectual property. What I haven't seen them do is destroy computer systems or make data unavailable. So unless they change their code of ethics or their rules of engagement, right now they're stealing things, but it's still intact for the victim companies to use and access.
Is there sort of an understanding among international hackers, government agencies, if you will, don't go too far?
Well, I think that one of the reasons we've tolerated this for as long as we did is because there wasn't destruction. But what we're seeing right now is some other nation states starting to move towards more destructive-based attacks.
Like which ones?
From what I've heard, Iran is one of the countries that is also more destructive should they break in. So they have a different rule of engagement.
What a viewer watching right now, whether here or in the around the world, in the United States or around the world, what could they do? Potentially, are they at risk?
Not really. The groups or the threat actors that we track, what they do is they hack American companies. So they're not interested, well, in your case, they might be interested in you and what you do, but they're not interested in sole individuals unless you're very high worth, very prominent in some capacity. So I would say the biggest concern is organizations that have innovation and lots of IP.
How difficult is it for a hacker to steal someone's information? I'll give you an example. A year or so ago, I was speaking to a high-level U.S. intelligence official who said to me, when he goes to China, he doesn't even take a laptop with him because he's fearful the stuff on that laptop could be stolen.
Right. If you go to China, most firms that I deal with have throwaways. If they take a BlackBerry to China, they're throwing it away when they come back. Same with anything that they bring to China. Even throwaway laptops. So nobody's going there with one device and coming back and maintaining its use.
Because if you go there, what potentially could happen? You go in with your laptop, your BlackBerry, your smartphone. Potentially walk us through the problems that could develop.
Well, I think that
if you're targeted, let's say.
If you're targeted, the thing is, the attackers only do the type of attacks that are successful. So if someone is not very good at attacking you and they're trying to break in and they can't succeed, generally then the B team will come in. If the B team's not successful, then we see the A team come in. But if you're going to China, access to your device is access to your information. And that's been the rule of thumb, is that high-level diplomats and high-level executives in the U.S., when they go to China, they aren't using that equipment when they return.
In other words, they just throw it away.
Absolutely.
They go in with a clean smartphone, a clean laptop or iPad or whatever, and then there's no information on the hard drive or whatever that potentially could be damaging.
That's exactly right. They go in with a clean slate and they come out and throw it in a pile.
And that's it. A lot of people do that.
Absolutely.
That's the advice I got when I went there as well, but I didn't know how serious it was. So walk us through that Coca-Cola, the hacking on Coca-Cola, because they were involved in a sensitive negotiation with China.
Well, I can't comment specifically on Coca-Cola. What I can do is tell you what the threat actors normally do. If you're doing mergers and acquisitions in China, it's very common that a specific group will attack you for the communications. So they'll usually go after the organization that's doing the M&A work, and they go after the law firms as well. And law firms have been traditionally insecure. So those are the folks that are normally targeted during M&A negotiations in China.
Because they're looking for an advantage in the negotiations. And
Absolutely.
if they can steal what you're thinking is, they might have an advantage in those negotiations.
Absolutely.